It's been a long wait. Boxing fans have been asking the same question for years. When is Jermall Charlo coming back? The undefeated middleweight champion had disappeared from the sport's spotlight, dealing with personal struggles and the relentless pull of life outside the ring. He had everything: power, precision, charisma, and yet he was gone. Until now. May 2025. Under the bright lights and roaring crowd, the silence ended. The co-main event of a stacked card. Opposite him stood Thomas LaManna, a fighter known for his grit, a journeyman with nothing to lose and everything to prove. To some, this fight was a mere formality, a tune-up. But to those who followed the chaos of boxing, nothing is ever just a formality. It was Charlo's redemption arc, or potentially his downfall. The bell rang for round 1 and there was no hesitation. Charlo came out composed, his body language calm yet lethal. You could see the time away hadn't dulled his instincts. If anything, it made him more dangerous. He wasn't rushing. He wasn't brawling. He was analyzing, calculating, testing. LaManna's movement, his timing, his guard. LaManna, to his credit, didn't fold. He had his jab working early, flicking it out with decent speed, trying to keep Charlo honest. He circled, used his reach, but it was clear within the first minute that Charlo wasn't buying it. He was walking him down. Subtle pressure, sharp eyes, the kind of control that tells you a fighter hasn't forgotten who he is. By round 2, the rhythm was set. Charlo started digging to the body, and the sound of his punches echoed through the arena like gunshots. Thud. Thud. And every time LaManna took a step back, Charlo would close the gap, cutting off the ring with surgical footwork. There was a weight to everything Charlo did, a sense of inevitability. He wasn't just fighting LaManna. He was fighting doubt, rust, memory. The boxing world had written him off, but he was writing himself back in. Commentators began to shift their tone. What started as cautious praise turned into full-throated admiration. The control, the patience, the power, it was all there. By the end of round 3, LaManna's face was showing signs of wear. Swelling, hesitation. His footwork slowed, just enough for Charlo to start slipping in those short uppercuts. The kind you don't see on the broadcast replay until it's too late. And then came round 4. You could feel it building. Charlo wasn't just looking for a win, he was hunting for a statement. He began varying his punches, mixing hooks to the head with lightning-fast body shots. The crowd sensed it too. A murmur of anticipation rippled through the stands every time Charlo moved in close. LaManna, ever the warrior, fought back. He threw a few flurries that landed clean. He dug deep. But with every exchange, it became clearer. This wasn't his night. This wasn't his story. He was standing in the ring with a man who had been away for years and still looked like the best version of himself. Round 5, and the writing was on the wall. Charlo turned up the volume. A jab followed by a right hook sent LaManna reeling into the ropes. The referee watched closely, giving LaManna every chance. But the gaps in his defense were widening. The sweat sprayed off his head with each connection. He was fighting on instinct, and instinct alone wasn't enough. Then came round 6, the climax. Charlo walked out of his corner with icy focus. No wasted movement, no emotion. Just violence dressed in discipline. Within seconds, he trapped LaManna against the ropes and unleashed a brutal combination. A left hook to the ribs, a right uppercut that snapped LaManna's head back, and then a final straight right down the pipe. LaManna crumbled. He didn't drop instantly, but his body betrayed him. His knees buckled, his arms sagged. The ref had seen enough. He stepped in, waving it off. A 6th round TKO. Just like that, Jermall Charlo was back. The arena erupted. Not just for the finish, but for the return. This wasn't just about one fight. It was about a man reclaiming his legacy. A career paused by personal battles. A narrative that many thought had ended in silence. Instead, it roared back in high definition. Charlo's record now stood at a clean 34 wins, 0 losses. No asterisk, no doubts. Still undefeated. The broadcast team shouted into their mics, listing his accolades, speculating on future matchups. Canelo, Benavidez, Munguia. The middleweight division once again had a storm brewing, and at the center of it was Jermall Charlo. Post-fight, Charlo took the mic. He didn't boast. He didn't rant. He simply thanked his supporters, nodded to LaManna for showing up like a true professional, and said what everyone was already thinking. I'm back. That's all it took. But for fans who followed his journey, those 2 words carried the weight of 1,000 silent nights. Charlo had been through it. Personal issues, legal troubles, long stretches of inactivity. And every time his name faded from the rankings, people assumed the worst. But if boxing teaches us anything, it's this. Never count out a fighter with something to prove. The internet exploded after the fight. Clips of the knockout went viral within minutes. Analysts who had counted him out were now scrambling to rewrite their rankings. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Charlo's name was everywhere. And the narrative had shifted. He wasn't the forgotten champion anymore. He was the dark horse, the comeback king, and Thomas LaManna. He walked away with his head held high. He took the fight, knowing the odds. He fought with heart, gave the fans action, and stood toe-to-toe with a dangerous opponent. In boxing, there's no shame in defeat, only in quitting. And LaManna never quit. That matters. For Charlo, the path forward is clear. Bigger fights, bigger purses, bigger pressure. But after this performance, the hunger is back. The focus is back. The conversation has shifted from where's Charlo to who's next. And that's the beauty of this sport. It only takes one night to change everything. One punch to silence the doubters. One dominant round to reignite a legacy. Jermall Charlo didn't just win a fight. He reminded the world who he is. People forget how good he was. The precision, the composure, the calm within the chaos. Watching Charlo fight is like watching a masterclass in discipline. He doesn't rush. He doesn't brawl unless he has to. He breaks you down piece by piece until there's nothing left. It's not just about raw power. It's the way he sets traps, the way he controls distance, the way he paralyzes opponents with timing. LaManna felt it. You could see it on his face between rounds. He was trying everything, but it wasn't enough. That's what separates great fighters from good ones. Now the questions begin.